Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher, Mike Haspel, and Wyatt Turk from Jacket Close Painting. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Let's go.
Grab your PJs, boys.
So we are back from the ATCs. What an incredible time. Wow. I don't even know where to start.
Good job, man. Your broadcasting skill is even better now than it was at ATCs.
It's super. Well, let's see. It's 10:22 p.m. and I've been working for 16 hours today. So, yes, I am tired. Sometimes we can't remember things.
That's a fact. So, we were at the ATCs, yes, but before we go too hard on anything, at the top of the show, since it's been over a week since we've been here, because Wednesday was my travel day, and unfortunately, I'm the guy who has to do the editing on the podcast, and we were unable to meet earlier to get something done. So we left you guys for an entire week without a dope beat to step to. So we're going to come in with Wyatt's weekly Would You Rather.
Right, you are, Ken. Would you rather don only Sailor Moon outfits for the rest of your life or dress like the cast of Hamilton for the rest of your life? Two ensembles only.
Wait, what's Hamilton?
It's a stage play where you dress like the 1700s.
Yeah, I'm totally doing that.
Yeah, but say that's obviously
Hamilton get shot to death.
Like, I don't get shot to death in this Would You Rather, though, right?
No, you just dress like the stage play. So you have to go around, you have your cravats and your white powdered wig
and culottes.
Culottes with tights.
Or I had to dress like a Sailor Moon anime.
Only Sailor Moon. You can't be Sailor Mars or anybody else.
Or even
Sailor
like that
Moon.
guy who's their friend who has a cape, because I'd wear that cape.
No, you can't be Tuxedo Mask.
That guy, I would wear that outfit right now.
Do I get a wig so I can have the Sailor Moon hair?
Yeah, you get like the whole Magic Girl transformation.
Do I get Sailor Moon magic powers?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Do I stay fat or do I slim down like Sailor Moon?
No.
Let's talk.
The costumes are form fitting, Mike.
Let's talk about the Hamilton side of things here. So do I get a pistol musket, a flintlock pistol?
I mean,
but it works to the same degree that it works on the play.
Yes. So it might go off, but it's just like, you're not gonna shoot anybody. I mean, you carry a rapier.
You get all the magic powers of Hamilton play acting.
Yes.
But I legit get Sailor Moon powers when I become Sailor Moon.
Right. Or you become an amazing stage actor.
Okay, I'm back to Sailor Moon. I'm Sailor Moon.
I'm going to go with Hamilton. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to greet everyone I meet with, I apologize for calling your wife a bloated warthog, and I bid you good day.
Challenge people to duels in the streets.
That's kind of where I was at, because I feel like the world would be a better place if, when you are seriously irritating somebody, they're allowed to pull out a flintlock pistol and load it in front of you. If you don't stop irritating them, that you get to shoot them with it.
Or is it acceptance of a duel, pistols are done?
Yeah, you have to. I think we should bring dueling back.
What you're suggesting is a straight up murder.
No.
You're saying I get to murder if you don't stop annoying me.
No.
I mean, not what you were suggesting.
You got to think about the old, like, if you cheat at cards, you steal a horse, you insult a man's wife, all those.
So do you have to live your life by the values of the Hamilton lifestyle?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. So this would be a formal challenge to pistols a duel in this scenario.
Yeah, but nobody has to accept. You just be a random dude dressed up in 1700s.
But am I compelled to, like?
Yeah, you're compelled to, but other people are just going to think you're a crazy person.
Like if he does something that, based on the archetype of my historical relevance to the play that I'm magically in at all times, I'm compelled to hold myself to those standards at all times.
Yes.
Oh, ooh.
if you fist fight, you must present fisticuffs in the old way.
The Queen of Marsbury, is that it?
Yeah, Queensberry rules.
Queensberry rules.
I'm still taking magic powers. Even if my magic powers are like only limited to being able to fast change and float in the air while my clothes stick to me for a few minutes, I'm with it. Because I don't think she has magic powers, does she? Is there like a power profile on Sailor Moon? Can someone give me that?
I honestly don't remember.
Does she fly?
They felt like monsters and shit. So probably.
Flies.
Tell me she can fly, because then I'll do that for flight.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I might be interested if she can fly. Flying seems fun.
I just thought it would be hilarious to see Kenny in a form-fitting Sailor Moon outfit.
I'm almost thinking that needs to happen.
I mean, you say it'd be hilarious. I promise. I assure you, sir.
It would be simultaneously hilarious
and horrible
until and then horrifying. It's one of those things that you're like, oh man, this is going to be hilarious, and then the door opens and you're like, there's no God. You just immediately like clawing the eyes out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Neezy in chat. So straight up murder. No. But what you're describing is murder. Nope.
I like how people are like, oh, I could be a president. I'm like, it's the cast.
Yeah, I don't.
You could be like the dude sweeping horse shit out of the streets of a 1700s town.
A president.
You may or may not be actually Alexander Hamilton.
I don't think he was. Wasn't he like Secretary of State or Treasury or something?
That's America. We don't care about things like that.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, he was a president. It's fine.
Yeah, he's obviously the president.
He was not the president. He was not a president. Yeah, he wasn't born in the U.S., guys. Come on.
Look, detail.
He was like the original birther guy.
Alternatively, you could end up as like Thomas Jefferson.
Is it a roll of the dice? Like, I don't know which one I'm going to be.
Yeah, it's the cast. Who knows?
I might be stable guy who's compelled to shovel poop all day.
Yeah, you could be the touched in the head farm boy, or you could be an aristocrat. Who knows?
I feel like you guys are messing up if you don't pick Sailor Moon.
Yeah, the more and more I think of it,
you guys are fucking up.
Yeah,
so Sailor Moon's the obvious choice here. I was saying Hamilton at first, but now I understand it's actually Sailor Moon. All you gotta do is be uncomfortable physically in an outfit for the rest of your life, understandably, in exchange for the power of flight.
I don't think she could fly. I'm pretty sure that was not a thing.
Well, if she can fly, I'm in. Like, I'm trying to.
I don't think they could fly.
Okay, even if she can fly, sometimes I'm in. Or is it the power of love? What is their thing? I don't know anything about these people. I know Tuxedo Mask look cool.
I know what they look like. I know their names. That's it.
All right.
Well, Lavarius, do you get the theme song? Ooh, that's a good point.
Okay. I'm even more in. If I get this, the theme song just shows up and like everyone has to hear it in my vicinity, I'm with it.
Oh, you don't even need a dude following you around with a big boombox.
Nope, that's just magic, bro. Would you rathers are granted wishes by genies, that they're totally mythical and magical in nature.
Huh.
That's what I've decided. All right, let's do the show.
I thought we were doing a show.
Are we?
Fine. Talk about new stuff.
Hasbro, according to my paperwork here, we're live.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't believe you.
Mike, we're live. So Warcry's coming out and looks actually pretty super dope. A lot of hype behind it. A lot of cool stuff. So definitely check that one out. $170. I think one of the best ways maybe to pick it up is buy the starter, buy an extra rule book. If you're splitting it with a friend, split it with a friend, buy your faction cards, and then you can kind of share the stuff that comes in the starter and the warband's in there if you get sick of playing your Deepkin or whatever you got. That might be pretty good. It's getting the kill team rollout, so there's going to be a core rule book for $40, battle plan cards, which may, judging by what comes in the box, there's like 4 sets of cards that are all battle plan cards. So I think you get a bunch of stuff. So you need all that to play Warcry. So I think that's the $18 pack, but we haven't actually seen it go live on GW's website yet. Those are $18. And then they have the Cypher Lords, which are those kind of geisha Asian looking high elves, for lack of a better
Sneechian themed a little bit, probably.
Yes. From the was it the Heesh? Where are they from? The Sheesh realm?
The hashish realm, probably.
The hashish realm.
Opium realm.
The flavored tobacco. They look pretty cool. They're $50 US. So if you start breaking down the value of the box, you're talking probably double value once you factor in the war bands, the train, all that stuff. So, and judging by how quick Kill Team went out of stock, that starter set, it might be worth picking up. So that way, even if a year from now you're auctioning it off at down at Gamers Haven, at least you might get good money on it, but you'll be able to get it if you want it. So that was a shout out to Aspel because he's going to buy it and he's going to be like,
I saw the box today. I kind of went through it. It's got a lot of stuff in there. It's a pretty good value, I'd say.
I did a breakdown on the site, I think today over on Spiky Bits about the estimated values, and it ends up being like near, I think it was double of what you pay. So it's like 320, 330 ish, if I recall correctly. Then there's all the different card packs for $8 each. So there's Nighthaunt, Deepkin, Daughters of Cain, Nagash, Flesh Eater Quartz, Gloomspite Gits, Iron Jaws, and Bone Splitters.
No fatties.
No fatties. What do they got against fatties?
Why can't I play my Ogre Ninjas and Warcry GW? What the fuck?
Hashtag fatties, GW.
Stop fat shaming our ogres.
There's also there's in Sylvaneth either. Womp womp.
Or Fire Slayers.
Oof. Just can't live in this AOS mortal realm anymore. Warcry carry case for $35. Corpse Rat Mausoleum, which looks like the Vampire Counts one that came out like 2 years ago, and then it was like the Garden of Moor before that, I guess. $90 US. A ruler for $15. So it's all bony looking, kind of cool. So that's the big G-Dub stuff that will go on pre-order this Saturday. If you're going down to your local game store this Saturday to actually pick stuff up, there is over 30 new releases coming out, including their reboxing Cadian stuff. So all the Lehman Russes are getting reboxed. I think the Lehman Russes went up. I think all the tanks went up. I think the Lehman Russes went up to $55. Stealth increase that wasn't on the list. And a couple other things, which has some people saying maybe they'll come out with Trader Guard because none of the other like Cadian Shock Trooper kind of plastics went up, but just the vehicles. So it's kind of curious that the vehicles go up and not the troops. But we're still seeing more and more Trader Guard. So that would be really neat to see. And I think it would appeal to a lot of folks, especially hot on the heels of Chaos Knights. Just some rumors I've read on the internet, nothing solid, just like, hey, this, then maybe this. Yes, maybe that. Who knows? But it would be cool. There was, well, Wyatt knows, there was Renegades on, what was it? The Siege of Rax from Forge World back in the day. You could buy, they were what, upgrade sets, I think. I want to say.
You mean the Guardsmen?
Yeah, the Renegade Guardsmen.
Yeah, they had like standalone models and they had upgrade sets and they had like Renegade, like Chaos Ogryn. And some other things. I think that's it. Yeah,
that they all look great. I hope they seem to use that as a template for all the new plastics. So that's pretty cool. New Titanicus this week. New Sylvaneth. Tree People are finally back. They got all their cool stuff this week. What else came out? Gosh, I don't even know. There's so much stuff. Where's my cheat sheet? Quick stall. Blood Bowl, the Wood Elves came out, Titanicus stuff. There's so much. Oh, start collecting Primus Space Wolves and Thousand Suns. So pretty much something for everybody this week on the GW front. Actually walking into your local game store. Some non-GW new releases. We've got Pro Acryl, new 16 color set for $47.99. You can get that over at creaturecaster.com, along with the transparent set. There's 8 of them for $23.99, which I was really impressed by the bottles and the design. That's about as far as I got because I'm the worst. I'm not exactly the guy to talk about new paints and use them and speak on.
Well, I ordered some Kenny's been using them. He got like the inside track, got the demo set.
That's true. I only got a couple colors. Like I like the gray, the blue, the purple, and burnt orange and ochre. And they're all real good. I use the shit out of them. Like the already existing burnt red plus their burnt orange plus ochre is a really solid workup for red capes and stuff.
I've been, I edit the write-ups for your tutorials on Spiky Bits, and I always read, well, you and Wyatt actually, and Wyatt seems to like a lot of mahogany, I've noticed, and Kenny's all over the place with the colors he uses from them, but I always kind of...
Well, that makes sense. Wyatt is very organized and disciplined with his color theory, whereas half the time I look at the table and I'm like, whichever paint is closer to me is the paint we're using for this tutorial. Ochre. Got it.
Nailed it. Nah, you put out some good stuff, man. I think you think more about the stuff than you let on.
No. I think about it once I have begun a lot. But, like my video on like brown is the best color.
Yeah.
Brown
that was good.
I couldn't find my coal black. I was like, damn, did I lose coal black again? We're using brown. That's how I made that video, guys.
It was a good one. I enjoyed the write-up on that. So that stuff's coming out. Also, White Metal Games, we talk about them a lot on Spiky Bits, and we do some showcase videos from time to time for them. They started a very ambitious program this month where you can rent painted miniatures, whether it's, for a week or whatever, for a tournament, or for like a special occasion, like an Apocalypse game. They have a Warlord Titan you can rent.
Are these guys going to be the rooms to go of 40K? Is this rent to own?
I mean, you can keep it. They do break it down.
Are we financing painted Warhammer models now?
I mean, I don't know how to think about that. I could see where, like, if you need something, you're like, yo, I need something for this event. Let me get 3 Caladiuses. Let me just get them and then, send them back or whatever. I actually beta tested it for them. I ordered something and then we would, we double checked, like, if it came damaged, and they had the return label in the box and like packing material. And, they're like, hey, is it damaged? And, you just fill out this little form. And then I just didn't keep it. I just sent it right back just to see how it worked. But it was very professional and cool, like how it was. Now, I haven't cracked down any of the math on any of the stuff, but they rolled it out, and I was like, this is kind of cool. Never seen anything about it. I like it. I'm going to talk about it. We've never seen anything like that before. So they got dragons over there for RPG stuff. I just think it's neat.
It's like an Airbnb for minis.
I mean, all of these things you guys have named and compared it to are successful business enterprises. So
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I was gonna chime in. I was like, that's silly, but then I was like, it's not. You're right.
No, it's not. I don't think it's silly at all. I mean, well, think about how many times you've had to, like, the night before a thing, right, because you needed one extra vehicle or something like that, and you're furiously assembling or painting or whatever.
Yeah.
They could save your bacon, right? It's like, and how fast do they deliver? Because there's another scenario that I think if they can just deliver stuff really fast, imagine I travel out for Adepticon and then I'm like, you know what? I forgot all my exorcists. Oh my God. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, I can rent 3 exorcists.
Mm-hmm. I have them delivered.
And have them delivered.
And get it overnighted. It's just, it was USPS shipping. So it came in a day for me because I'm like a 1-day ship away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's definitely...
The chat said it's the red box of 40K.
That's another successful business.
Yes, all these things are terrible businesses and they'll never succeed. Oh, wait a minute, shoot.
Is Redbox still a thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is out here.
I don't think I've seen one in like a decade.
Out here in flyover country, we still have Redbox.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've seen a Redbox at the CVS right next to like the big water refill container that people bring their water jugs back in and fill back up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Maybe I've seen that. Yeah, Redbox equal can't afford the internet. That's what Nurgle is love said in the chat.
Oops. So I thought it was cool. Definitely worth talking about. Check out the wares. I think somebody threw a link up in chat there. But I mean, Randall Warlord Titan, how cool would that be for like Apocalypse game? I don't know. It just seemed neat. I like talking about neat stuff that we've never seen before. Haspel, is there like a TV show coming or something?
Yeah, we've been excited about, I don't know how many times we've talked about like, hey, wouldn't it be great to have a Warhammer 40K television show or something like that. And today they announced that there is indeed in development a Warhammer 40K television show, but it is not what you think it is. When we say Warhammer 40K TV show, people immediately think Space Marines, but this is actually a pretty good call. They're going with a television show based on Dan Abnett's Inquisitor Eisenhorn series. And why this is actually a really good idea is because it is a format that audiences already know. So it's easy to sell some kind of a, police procedural / investigative, detective kind of show, which fits right in with Eisenhorn. Instead of trying to introduce them to something completely new like Space Marines. So it's a really good idea. They've got a showrunner assigned to it already. It's Frank Spotsnitz. He did The Man in the High Castle. He's done some X-Files stuff and everything. So he is very high profile. He also did a show called Medici on Netflix. So it's actually pretty cool that they're actually doing this. They have Emily Feller is also attached. She's done like Medici also on Netflix and Ordinary Lies and Trust Me. So they've got some names attached to it right now, and of course it's under development. So that doesn't mean anything at all, but I'd like to think that this is going to get off the ground. And if people, if they turned in something the quality of like The Expanse or Bosch, on Amazon, that would just be absolutely phenomenal. And what it would do for the hobby, I can't even begin to think of. And a lot of folks are excited about not just Eisenhorn, but he has a protege named Ravenor, right? I think I don't know, just personally, I don't know that they would go that route, because Ravenor, if you take a step back and squint, it's kind of the X-Men, like straight up. So, but Eisenhorn seems more unique, especially if they follow the storyline in the books. There's lots of twists and turns. There's huge character. He's a very, very complex character. So you get really behind it, especially if they get some powerful talent attached. Could be really cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be awesome. There's so many cool things that are plucked from the wider 40K universe in that story that I think everybody will have, like their cool moment they want to see on screen over the course of a series, and they'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be really awesome.
It's looking good. I'm buying it. Who was your top pick for actors? Haspel was the casting director.
If I was the casting director, who I would pick, and I'll go backwards, right? Mm-hmm. I would pick Sean Bean as the third. And the only reason I say as the third is because I don't think they would ever get Sean Bean. But he would be phenomenal. He'd be really, really good. He brings, immediate gravitas to the role. Like everybody would understand, okay, who this character is just based on who Bean has played in the past. The second pick, I don't think is a long shot. Like they could get this guy. It'd be Ian Glenn, and he played Mormont on the on Game of Thrones. And my number one pick has actually played Eisenhorn before, and it's Mark Strong, and he's already got a history with both Warhammer 40K because he voiced the Ultramarine guy in Space Marine in the game, and he voiced Eisenhorn in the Eisenhorn Xenos mobile game. So in fact, which that game is not super great, but if you play through it as kind of an interactive novel, it's really, really cool. And because of Mark Strong's performance. And then Wyatt had brought up Rufus Sewell, who has a very prominent role in The Man in the High Castle. And so since that showrunner has already worked with him, he could easily move over as Eisenhorn. You know, and he's a really solid actor too. He's really, really
bold Eisenhorn predictions. I love it. I guess I can see all of these. I mean, Sean B is my favorite guy, so but
still sharp.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep, 40K porn on the horizon. Rad Bully in chat says.
Yep, Rule 34. Little known fact about Rad Bully, by the way. He is a professional pole rider, 3-time Wayne Shaft side fumbling champion.
So let's talk about ATCs. The reason we weren't here last week.
I drive across the country.
Yeah, you drove. I mean, for you, it was more like driving around a mountain chain. Because you can't drive over it for some reason in that part of the country.
I think we drove over it. I feel like we drove over it.
You did. Yeah. It's just insanity to drive all the way down that way. It is what it is. It is the faster way though. I know because when I initially drove out there, I took the West Virginia route.
Yeah, that's driving in that ravine for
mistakes were made. Driving my 24-foot U-Haul with my car being towed behind it. It's according to GPS, this is only going to take 22 hours. Damn, I was wrong.
Mistake.
Yeah, fucked up. Hey, Ron.
I fucked up bad. So ATC's American Team Championships 2019 in the books, guys. Big shout out to the sponsors over there. Biggest influence for us is Dice Head. Shane and Mel over there. Chris works with them too. These guys, it's the 9th year that they've been doing this event, and it was breathed into existence on the 40K Wrecking Crew forums. We'll take credit for that. Some 9 years ago. And these guys have taken that and brought it to something amazing. There was 420 players, Mike.
Wow.
Yeah. If you guys are familiar with this format, 5v5 teams, and you pair off into single 1v1s. And there's a lot of tactics in the old matchup game. Attacker, defender. But they've definitely spruced it up. It used to be straight up coin flip. You put one, we match it. I put one, you match it. Now it's 2 people put out lists. You see them. Then you present 2 lists in response. And the defender gets to choose which one of these attackers he's going to play. So there's a bit of a gamemanship there. There's a lot of high-level strategy, and this tournament is historically presented very skewed lists to win this tournament. And the other rule is only one instance of a faction can be represented per team, so you can't all just bring the same Eldar list. As a matter of fact, if you just want Eldar allies for this one thing in your Dark Eldar army, you ruin an entire other army's ability to take them.
Yeah, it does not work. Does not work out well.
It's a pretty fun format. Rob and I actually were year 1, year 2 champion teams. I haven't
year 3. Don't forget that.
Second place year 3.
That counts.
Barely in the top 10 year as we continuously became less prepared and more higher on our supply.
Second place, by the way, second place does not count. There's no points for second best if you're second. If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, that's a scientific fact. But Haspel, it seems crazy. I feel like you could be second, third, fourth, hell, even 5th place.
I told you that shit when I was on pay out there.
But this was historical for us because I haven't been there in 3 years since I moved out west. And as we discussed earlier, Rob got me in on a phone call with Brad over at Skillshot, and they have a new property called ProTabletop.com. Mm-hmm. These guys are legends at powering entire events to the highest degree of professionalism in the esports world. And they brought that to bear at the ATCs. They brought us in as casters. We learned a lot that weekend.
Like how to hear a voice in your head and still continue talking.
How to work on a team as a broadcaster. It was an amazing experience. Shout out to the champions, Team Wobbly Gentlemen, first place. 4 of the 8 players who represent America in the ETC, the European Team Championships, were on that team. And they defeated Quality Control, which has another player on that team, actually the team captain, Sean Naden. It was an incredible grand finals.
It was definitely amazing to be a part of casting and very cool to watch. I think my laugh out loud moment was with Kurt Klaus, like, Danny, give me water. Danny, water.
Dude, there was
you could hear everything.
It honestly showed to me like who is going to be as a player, these competitive players, ITC player. We did interviews with like Don Husen, Jim Vessel, Nick Nalvati, Tony Kopak, Jeff In Control Robinson. We interviewed Sean, Austin, D Woods. We did a lot of great floor interviews, and you can really start to see who's rising out of the competitive scene to be a legend of the future as this moves forward into this T-sports world as it's soft.
Oh, is that the name now?
No, I just decided. Yeah.
Well, G-Sports.
Well, you heard it here. It's official T-Sports.
T-Sports.
I like the idea of calling it D-Sports, and I'm going to actually make the logo where like the D is in a dice and it's like D-Sports. Oh. So then we can say D-Sports.
Okay.
Tune in and get some D.
Yeah,
sports.
D and the C.
I mean, I definitely throw my hat in on that, but it was amazing. And so you saw a lot of great characters on the field. We're covering all 5 tables at once. Pro Tabletop .com does have a survey out on their website right now.
Yeah, if you guys could at least fill this out for them, it's a concise little survey about just a lot of the stuff, what you'd be looking for, some of the stuff that went down at the event.
They do plan on potentially hosting their own events because that's something they're very adept at, and so they can kind of bring the stream control to a full head. And so they're asking you guys to fill out the survey on their website so that they can bring exactly what you guys want to see.
And make sure you put in there to make that iPad interface an app for everybody to use to keep tracking their games. They have fully assured me that is the future. Oh yeah,
they had their own proprietary coded ITC tracking app that works with iPads. You can have 2 on the table or 1 on a table. You guys are red, blue, and you're filling it out.
Yep.
It was actually incredible.
That app was super cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's real time.
It also was a chess clock in and of itself, which was pretty dope.
Yep. The outer panels is a chess clock, touchscreen chess clock. The inner panel is your actual just ITC tracking.
Yeah. And then it all this is just for the stream, but it all interfaced back. So the graphics could be updated in real time. Sometimes while we were talking. Well, that was just updated.
It was an incredible experience. So if you guys are curious to see what the future of D-Sports looks like, heading over to any one of our various platforms, Long War on YouTube, Next Level Painting, Spiky Bits. We have all the VODs everywhere, saturating the market for everyone to look at and comment and criticize.
You can, what's the word for watching somebody on Twitch?
Twatching.
Twatching, yes, you can twatch us.
You can twatch us. Which brings us to our next segment which is very important to the ATC. ATC historically in 8th edition has set trends, made FAQs.
It's on the ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground. FAQ decisions have been made. Huge. Did you guys like it when they changed it so flyers can hold objectives and you could table a flyer army by just killing what's on the ground? Did you like that? Well,
I don't see that.
ATC made that happen because they bring such a high level competitive crowd with skewed lists, you get like 1,000 play tests in one weekend to really truly test stuff.
Yeah, it's like a mini ITC playtest kind of tournament, and I think seeing all those 7 Eldar flyer lists, archetypes, and even the Caladius tank for some regards.
Yeah, let's go over some quick archetypes. So we streamed the top tables all weekend. So we're not going to be speaking to maybe some outliers out there, some other crazy things. There was an archetype, right? It was an Eldar Air Force with around 7 or more flyers, supported by probably some Wave Serpents and other ground troops or Night Spinners or whatever. Every team, I called it the American Express card at the ATC. Don't leave home without it.
Yes.
Genestealer Cult. So like you saw a Horde archetype. Every army or every team brought a Horde archetype. And that Horde was subcategorized into like a control Horde, like Orcs, or Plague Bears with like some Lord Ds or whatever, or like a true GSC like DPS Horde. So some teams brought both. Some teams brought 3 variants. Like the winners, as a matter of fact, had GSC Orcs and Plague Bear control. Really skewed. 3 out of 5 of their people had some type of board control element. And the reason those control armies are so good is they're perfect throwout lists. They're hard to interact with no matter what you're playing. And so they can lose fall on swords and still keep the margin close. Other big archetypes, triple Caladius. Rob, did you even found our 3D printed Caladius is out there on the floor, didn't you?
Yeah, those green ones were in attendance, although they did have some painted resin bases on them. So kudos for the hobby effort there.
Yep. That made me happy. Another archetype, which we saw a lot of, was a knight player would be presented on the team. Mm-hmm. Somebody with some knights and some other Imperial ally that wasn't as obvious as like IG to open up IG for somebody else. You saw some of that.
And the knight list was varied too. Like we saw a Dominus class with 2 Questores. I think we saw 3 or 4 Kiss. What was D Woods running? 3 or 4?
D Woods was running 4. I think he had 3 punchy knights and 1 Dominus or 1 Castellan or whatever.
So the knight lists were kind of varied, but there was definitely a knights list.
Knights were very popular. They're great skewed lists. You can put them, especially when you could aim them at your opponent, aim them at the list you want, the matchup you want. Saw a lot of that. So we saw a lot of archetypes. We saw things repeat themselves over and over again, play out. Did they get the matchup they wanted? Did they not? Some interesting outliers were Necrons. Had an interesting role to fill on this team format. They did okay. But having said that, bold FAQ predictions with the history of ATC. Rob, what do you got?
Well, I definitely think we could see something for the Eldar Flyers, maybe in the way that they restricted for a time you could take 9 Demon Princes. So some sort of way to break down the 7 flyer.
Let me correct you there. 10 Demon Princes.
Oh, my bad.
Bellacor's the Demon Prince, bro.
Oh, that's true. He is. Can't forget the very first. So I think maybe they could do some sort of restriction in that regard, like whether it's force word lock or keyword lock or just, I don't know, chassis lock. I have to look at the keywords. I'm just spitballing here, but that would definitely be a consideration. I think the only other thing we really saw in earnest was the Custody tanks. And that wouldn't even technically need an FAQ, right? Because they're technically betas.
Correct. I mean, but it is worth a mention. Triple Caladius is the reason you're seeing it so much. They're underpointed. But they are in beta, so if they get their points adjusted on their final release, it's not really an FAQ. But it is, if they needed an explanation point to do that in the rules department at GW Head HQ, you have witnessed it.
Well, then maybe Wyatt wants to say something about this. Would you say that maybe on paper, if you compare them to, like, say, a guard tank, right, a tank commander, they are by far better than a tank commander. They are 30-ish points more. They're 30-ish points less than pass, fully tooled out. But what if, and I'm just saying.
I'll stop you right there. Do any Leman Russ tanks have an invul save? No.
No.
So it's not even a comparison. They're insanely good for their point costs.
But what if they're that good because the rest of the Custodes are not that good?
I
don't think Custodes is bad. I think they're just hard to play.
Custodes are not bad. They are just hard to play now, but they were sweeping events right when people figured out bikes.
Yeah, and like they haven't had any changes to those bikes. Like they're still exactly the same way they were. It's just people got wise to what they do. So now, as a Custodes player, you have to be a very skilled pilot of those lists, but they're not bad, not by any stretch of the imagination. And the Caladius tanks fill a role that almost everybody in the game wants, and that is a hard-hitting vehicle with a lot of wounds, good saves, and an invul save.
Something I'm getting tired of, though, is I'm getting tired of all these goddamn flying tanks, though. Like, it's obnoxious. Like, here's something else why you can't compare them. I watched Sean Naden in round 5 almost get tabled because he got seized on by the Knight player with triple Knights, triple tank commanders.
Wait, didn't he have Caladius too?
No. There's no way he had all that.
Oh, no. You're right.
Triple tank commander and triple knight. And he almost tabled Sean quick, or hurt him really bad, bloodied him on a seize. And I watched Sean with almost no models left pick his army apart, especially with these like 8 Eldar models jumping around tank commanders and tri-tipping them perfectly and stopping them from shooting and then leaping to the next one to kill that one like over and over again. That doesn't work on a Caladius.
No, just part of it too. The ability for them to be like a skimmer vehicle, like the Eldar Wave Serpents and Fire Prism stuff, is very, very tactically good for those vehicles. And just like their offensive power for their point costs paired with the defensive power they get, like any vehicle that has an invul save is just good. Because vehicles without invul saves are still very easy to kill in this edition. So you haven't seen a ton of tanks unless they're really cheap and you can bring a lot of them. You almost never see stuff like Predator tanks or Whirlwinds or Repulsors or any of that stuff because a Knight just looks at it and they can interact with it. They can reach out and touch it. Like the triple Baneblade variant list is kind of a meme and people still play it, but they don't have an invul save and people can just reach out and do damage to it unmitigated most of the time. So having a vehicle that puts out that storm of firepower and has an invul save, making it hard to interact with the fly keyword on top of it, is insanity.
Yeah. And it benefits from other buffs in the army. Yeah. So, I mean, prediction, if they needed help, just look at the VOD's GW. You'll see how it was on practically every team there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gets a -1 from the banner. It's got a charge negation bubble. Like, it is a ridiculous amount of rules, bloated with rules for its points.
It's 210 something points. Then you look at the new Repulsor Executioner that's like 299, big hunk of shit that doesn't do anything. Like,
it's brutal. But you know, if anything came out of this event, a fix. I don't even want to call it a nerf. A flyer fix. You know, would be awesome because flyers have the added, like these other flyer lists, while being good, have the added bonus of like Feel Bad Z City from turn 1 to turn 6. They're ridiculous. Like all the like -2 to hit everything, can't really interact with them. They can move and move again, and it's a little annoying. But that's pretty much the recap. Bold FAQ prediction post ATC. Let's move into Bloodraven Breakdown with Mike Aspel.
Yeah, so not gonna lie, I'm a little disappointed, but it's not because of the rules. We have a couple rules here. They have a chapter tactic that is really pretty cool. It's when resolving an attack made against a unit with this tactic, an unmodified wound roll of 1 or 2 always fails, irrespective of any abilities that the weapon or the model making that attack may have. And then in addition, when a psychic test or deny the witch test is taken for a psyker model with that tactic, you get to reroll any or all dice rolls of a 1. So that's fairly solid. They can't be wounded on 2 up. So very resilient. They have for 1 CP a stratagem called Chief Librarian, where you can just assign that to one of your librarians and they get an additional psychic power for 1 CP. So that's kind of cool. They have a relic that is lackluster. It's for bolt pistol or heavy bolt pistol only. And it's lackluster. I don't see it's, you know, it is strength 5 AP, neg 3, 2D, but I'm like, and I'll get into that in a little bit. We get Gabriel Angelos as a chapter master for 185 points, which is pretty good value. He winds up having, he's pretty normal chapter master stats and abilities. He has the old style, I guess. Is that what we're calling it? The old style, reroll hits rolls for attacks and any units.
It's old and now new again, because this entire edition has, put in the wording, can reroll failed.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing all the new stuff is just reroll straight up. So that way so hit modifiers don't interact with it in a weird way. That scales with the better the unit hits on, the worse the reroll modifier affects it. If you hit on 2s, reroll everything. All fails. But then I'm affecting you with a -2 to hit. You're hitting on 4s, but you can only reroll once. That's ridiculous. Like it's insanity, right? So it seems like they're getting around that. They're fixing it. They're sprucing it up. He has that. He is, like you said, a master. And I think you also said, what are the things that makes him different than like a normal chapter master? Is it 5 base attacks?
He has 5 base attacks and he has 2 different profiles. So he has one called Mighty Strikes, which is the Thunderhammer, the Thunderhammer profile. So it's a standard Thunderhammer kind of thing, except that on wound rolls of a 6, he does mortal wounds. And then he has one called Sweeping Blows, where he gets like an additional, I think it's 3 attacks. But that's
it's 3 attacks. It's 3 attacks per attack. Sweep.
Yeah. So it's
15 attacks. It's incredible.
Yeah. I didn't read it that way originally, but I can see how folks are interpreting it.
How does it say it in there?
It says when this profile is selected, add 3 to the bearer's attacks characteristic until the end of the phase.
Oh, it's just 3 attacks. Never mind.
So I'm like, that's 8 attacks to me.
That's 8 attacks.
Not 15.
I just got high for you because a lot of times when they say sweep, it's been the way I'm saying it, where it's like 2 to 1. That's how Chainglaive works on the Armigers. That's how Mortarion sweep attack works. So yeah, he just gets 8 attacks is real good. 8
attacks at +2 strength, right? So that gives him 6 and neg 1. So not bad at all. And then he has a special ability called Leap into the Fray, which I'm pretty sure they put in there to mimic his abilities in Dawn of War 2 and the computer game Dawn of War 3, where he has kind of this Thunderhammer attack where he like jumps in and just slams it down and knocks people back. And so on a 4-up, if you do this Leap into the Fray, when he charges in on a 4-up, you get to do D3 mortal wounds to that unit before it even starts. So that's actually really cool. I am a little bit disappointed, however, because like right before we started broadcasting, I found out that that's pretty much it. And I was very disappointed. So I was hoping that there would be more stuff in there. I was hoping they would have a very fluffy stratagem surrounding. I mean, the Blood Ravens are known to be the chapter with a ton of relics, and they tend to get handsy around other people's relics. Like they're known for like thieving stuff. So I would have loved to see a stratagem where either they can steal your stratagem, not, or mimic it, for that would have been a great stratagem. Like just for 1 CP, I can imitate your stratagem, essentially like clone your stratagem, but I have to pay the number of CPs that you do. So basically I get to clone your stratagem for plus 1 CP than what you do. That would have been a really cool strat. Or they should have had something where I get to copy any of your relics. Like if you have a relic in your list, I also have that relic. You know what I mean? Because that would have been really fluffy. I got a little salty right before we got on the air because I found out that what I just read was essentially everything that's in the White Dwarf. And I'm like, well, that amounts to a page. So it's not a really big deal. It's a little tragic.
It's basically, yeah, I mean, you're right. Like I missed the days when we had like dedicated specialist codexes for all these guys, but they do get to use the might of the Space Marine Codex of Stratagems, which there's many good ones. They get to use their arsenal. They get to introduce a new chapter tactic, which is very powerful, actually. Like, as you said at the top of your segment, I mean, not being wounded on 2s is pretty,
that's big.
Pretty big. It's a big deal, man. Like people run in there and they count on that math, and it's been taken from them.
Yeah.
They're unhappy about this news.
So aside from playability, they're playable, but I also concede to Haspel's point. They have a lot of lore, a lot of canon, a lot of great stuff that is just not being represented here. And I just miss those days where we got, our own codex dedicated to them. Sadness.
Yeah. And I didn't really need a whole codex, but I'm like, the fact that I basically talked about all the new stuff in about 30 seconds is very disappointing.
I mean, they did get a new unit though. The Gabriel Angelos is pretty cool. I mean, they got stuff. But I understand your point. Like, how many pages dedicated to like the narrative did they get too? Like, not like, is it all just on those 2 pages? I mean,
I have no idea. But I went from this White Dwarf being mandatory must buy to I'm probably not going to get it.
Got a really great question in chat. Wolfsark, I'm glad you mentioned this. He's like, it seems like an upcoming trim. You cannot wound on X number. What do you think of it? That's great because that's going to be a segue into our Knights a little bit. We're talking a little bit about Chaos Knights, but this has been a thing. Chaos Knights have it. I've seen it being used around the block and new stuff like this new chapter tactic. I think it's an interesting balance because I honestly think rerolls should leave 8th edition. Or I did until recently. I thought rerolls should leave and pluses to hit should come. Because I don't like this, like, all these extra rerolls. I'd rather it be like, if you're near a chapter master, +1, +2 to hit. If you're near, a regular captain, +1 to hit. Things like that. I'd like to just see pluses to hit, get rid of all the reroll shenanigans. Like, at the end of the day, hitting on a 3 with a reroll is pretty much the same as hitting on a 2. With little slightly different math changes, except one of them takes, 20 seconds longer to do than the other. So I think this might be like kind of that middle ground. Like we're getting rerolls, we're fixing them up, we're janking out the modifiers and the reroll mechanic. We're removing that jank. And now we're getting this new defensive mechanic. Cause I also think that minuses to hit is going to stop being a thing at the scale we've been seeing it. And I can see this new defensive trait. Can't be wounded on, like Knights have one, like Galvanized Hull, the Chaos ones do. Can't be wounded on 1, 2, or 3, essentially.
Yeah, that's legit.
I mean, for someone who's toughness 8, that makes a lot more sense, right?
Huge.
So, like, that means last cannons and above, wounded on 4s again. So I think that's cool. And I think that's an interesting mechanic, and I'd like to see more innovative mechanics like that in the future in exchange of what we have right now. Like minuses to hit as a defense strategy. So obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
But yep, Blood Ravens. Haspel's going to have to wait a little bit longer to get his gigantic Blood Raven army on the table.
Contract.
Yeah, I've been waiting since 4th edition, so.
It's true.
It's like, okay, I don't need to rush to paint these guys.
Yeah, you were rushing to paint them. You were amped.
Yeah.
You're basically just playing Space Marines with a new chapter tactic. So
which is cool, but it's just like, yeah, I don't. Basically, I got on the hype train only to discover that it wasn't going anywhere.
much sadness. And we do have a few minutes left, so we're gonna squeeze in a quick Chaos Knight update. Chaos Knight they're out. People are playing them. I'm gonna be playing them at Slaughterfest. If you follow me on my tactics class, we're gonna run this 11 Demon Engine list. Then it turned into I'm gonna run a Knight because I couldn't get my Mala Fiends done in time. And then based on Slaughterfest, which we've been promoting the event, it's 27th of this month. Wyatt will be there. I'll be there. They put out a pretty interesting set of rules. Since they're on the cutting edge of that meta, they put out an email that said they're extending list deadlines to the 19th. You could play Chaos Knights as a codex with the following caveat. You have to actually have the Chaos Knight and the actual rules or a approved Chaos conversion for your Imperial Knight. Meaning you are somebody who was dedicated to Chaos, already had the Knight from the Renegade Index, and you don't want to be like, I got to buy a new Knight. So there's just this, so they can just surf that cutting edge while not having all the meta surfers just say, my crass 3 Knights are now Chaos Knights. Like,
I think it's a good middle ground because typically when you sell tickets to an event with a certain set of rules and a list submission date, rules cut off, all that sort of stuff, that's what people expect. So because they wanted to be on the cutting edge, they called an audible and moved the rules cutoff date to allow the Codex Knights. And I think the locking it behind the hobby wall, as they said in their email, did assuage the saltiness of having to deal with that now. So past couple of weeks looking through all the Knight stuff, I'm okay with it, but I guarantee you I will be looking at people's Knights and I'll be like, hey, did Ray check a picture of that? Because that looks like a basic bitch Knight with some Chaos stickers on it, and I don't think that passes muster.
Right. It might pass muster the next GT 3 months from now. Right. But not this one, which is, this is the middle ground. This is the compromise we're making.
Yeah, because they just want to stop people from being like super meta surfy about it and force people to be like, if you want to play Chaos, like you better be dedicated to it. And they submitted a picture with as an example, and it is very clearly a heavily converted Knight. Like I feel like the email should say you should have the brand new kit, fully painted and based, or a heavily converted Knight, because the one they showed was not gluing some spikes on it, and using Chaos decals. Like it was heavily converted.
It was intense. So what I did was I was the first guy, because I'm in the Slaughterfest chat with him. I was like, let me just clarify. And I showed him a picture of my 2 Knights, which you can see on my Instagram page. I made them right when the Renegade Codex dropped. I had enough parts in studio that I can heavily convert one. I use like a Khitan chassis, some older skull bits, and the Forge World Carapace. So converted, it's ridiculous. $400 conversion. And the other one is based on just Imperial chassis, which is all we had at the time. And they match. Like they're like Iron Warrior themed. He has an Iron Warrior glyph on him. They match, but he's 100% Imperial stock. I was like, these 2 Knights, they're like one on the right. Yes. One on the left. No. I was like, cool. Use these pictures if you need to, so people understand I was denied. So if anyone comes at you with like how cool their Chaos Knight looks, it's not enough for this event. So I went back to the drawing board. I've currently at 10 additional hours, Rob, of hobby work on my original Renegade Chaos Knight from the Index that I made.
Well, to be fair, the new kit, I'm holding it in my hand. You literally will prick your fingers on all the spiky bits on the top of it, and that's before you even put the poles with the chains and stuff.
Oh, I have stabbed myself on Chaos bits many times, brother.
That's some irony. Are those bits too spiky for Rob
Bear's hands?
I thought one of your superpowers, also immortality, was not being able to be pricked by spiky bits.
It's true, but I'm warning for the rest of you mortals. I just wanted you to be aware of that.
I heard that. Yeah, and to the people in the chat, this extreme stance is just because of the cutting edge meta. Next week, it's like the week after the tournament, go nuts with just spiky, real Knights, like or appropriately color scheme Knights.
If you're not going to Slaughterfest, this doesn't affect you in any way. So
yeah. This is just me talking about how like you can still play your Knight. I put 10 hours of work into my Knight, snapped a picture, Sent it to the guys. I was like, am I on the right track? Is this tight enough? And they're like, yeah. So I did a lot of stuff using Spellcrow bits, a lot of modeling putty. I had to update my War Dog. I'm still not done, 10 hours deep. So which leads me to, what am I going to be bringing? Well, I'm going to be bringing 2 Knights and a War Dog, and a super heavy detachment, Iconoclast. And a lot of people on the internet are really up on that Inferno house. Warp Surge table where you can either make your punchy Knights move an extra 2 inches by sacrificing D3 mortal wounds. And there's all sorts of other cool ways to make that even further with some easy first turn charges. Or for your shooting Knights, you can Warp Surge for D3 mortal wounds and add 1 damage to one of the weapons on the Knight. So like a Gatling gun is suddenly 3 damage. Gatling cannon. So it's really good. It looks really good on paper. They got some cool stratagems. But I am throwing my hat in with Iconoclast. I think it is more flexible. I think the vow of domination, the vow of the Beast Slayer, the vow of carnage are too good to be overlooked. They've got an element in there called Dreadblade where you can add that tag to any one of your house knights to gain access to demonic pacts and damnations, which is a really cool chaotic way to balance buffs and debuffs. But if you look in there, there's a lot of cool relics that say accept Dreadblade. So you really have to balance it out. So I'm going to be running a double battle cannon knight and a double Gatling knight. Here's the tech that I like. And I went over at my tactics class today. Like there's a lot of if, then this kind of like thought process you have to put into it. But if you're going up against like an Eldar Flyer list, I'm putting the relic. I'm taking a Warlord and a free relic and buying the relic for the other guy. If I'm going against Eldar Flyers, double rapid fire battle cannon guy suddenly gets the relic of ignores negative to hit modifiers when shooting. And he will take the Vow of Beast Slayer, which is reroll 1s versus models that have 8 or more wounds. So he is an Eldar Flyer killer, especially with Trail Destruction stratagem, which is reroll all hits, not mishits. So he's straight like.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just saying you gotta when you do that, you just have to make the A10 Warthog sound.
Yeah. Well, and he's rapid fire. Battle cannon. He can take out 2 flyers right there. So that's pretty cool. There's another great vow called Vow of Carnage, which double Gatling Knights around the world should have, that's Iconoclast. Every 10 models you kill gives you +1 attack, which for a knight equals +3 attacks. For Titanic feet, happy feet attack. So this guy could be laying it down against like a horde army and just like, here's another attack, here's another attack, here's another attack. That stacks with that Iconoclast house trait, which is on the charge or being charged or heroically intervening. You get +1 to your attack and +1 to your AP in that round of close combat. So that guy with very little work is running into close combats with 24 attacks after just gadding people down. Now, these are all like pre-game stratagems you have to deploy. I'm a huge fan of Warp Haunted Hull Warlord trait. Just makes me have a deny on certain matchups. I'll even take the relic that does the same thing, Zinchian Pyrothrone on the other guy, so I can have deny auras. There's a lot of nuances if you really go through like you think of a matchup. How do I beat other flyers? Then look at the relics and the stratagems. This is how you do it. Write those down. How do I deal with Nurgle Horde, who also have interesting negative modifiers? Write down what you would do in that matchup as if then, and then what would you do if it was like none of those things, just a kind of a standard, more balanced army. So that's kind of what we covered today in the Tactics. The Chaos Knight book, while only having 2 houses and less stratagems than its Imperial counterpart, offers you many solutions to the current problems that you are facing at tournaments right now.
Well, I mean, to be fair, all the Questoris and the Castellan had that whole pregame, like, oh, I'm going to take this Call's Wrath relic, and oh, I'm gonna take Iron Strider or whatever. So you had all that shit. Even Blood Angel Smash Captains for certain part, you can be like, well, I'm going to take Angel's Wig. Oh, well, maybe I'll take the no negative modifier hammer too. Okay, well, let me do this delicate dance. So it's not just Chaos Knights. There's other stuff. There's other tomfoolery to be had at the mustard phase.
Oh yeah, let me tell you my favorite combos that you'll like going against a Plague Bearer, like spam army with Zangors and stuff.
That's definitely going to be seen.
Iconoclast Vow of Carnage for your Gatling Knight, +1 attack every 10 models you kill. Mm-hmm. Right? Relic coordinate target now instead of the ignore modifiers. Put ignore modifiers on the battle cannon guy because he's just straight up 1s on 2s anyway. So he'll just start working on the plague bearers for you. Your Gatling Knight just starts clearing out like the Zangors or any other like squishier units. Mm-hmm. He starts getting his attacks up high. Then he runs into a combat against 28 plague bearers with 24 attacks, drops the trail destruction stratagem, reroll miss hits, triggers the coordinate target, deactivates the once per game relic, the opponent's invulnerable save in close combat.
Oof.
Goes in with 24 attacks. Hit on 3s, all rerolls. 1 on 2s, no save. D3 damage. Clear out a squad of plague bearers. There is a lot, but thing is, it's not all there on paper for you. You have to go through the codex and really just start working out your, versus archetypes that you see in the meta, how to do it. Because if you just go in there with one plan and use it against everyone, the knights will be very indexy in feeling.
Seems like they have the toolkits. They have the tools to deal with some of the meta, the stuff in the meta there. The meta, what do you want to call them? Meta combos?
Anti-archetype?
Yeah, anti-archetype. We'll go with that. I'm stoked. This sounds super fun. But
as we said previous shows, me and Wyatt's only concern is while these knights are not the most powerful thing on Earth, also they're not going to get nerfed anytime soon, and FAQ will just clarify some wordings because they already have all the Imperial Knight FAQ nerfing in them, and they have less going for them. Ultimately, they're going to bring popularity to knights like you've never seen before for at least some period of time because they're chaos knights with real chaos rules.
Well, remember too, there's design elements on here that don't make any sense with the kit, the way the kit comes, like these little nubs on the front where the armor plate goes up over the head. Like there's nubs there for no reason. Like there's going to be more designs and more variants to come out, like maybe the Despoiler class to mirror the Questor's class. So there's going to be other stuff coming out as they roll it out. Maybe they didn't want to do it all at once. Because remember, the Preceptor came out in like December after all of the other Dominus and the Armigers came out in June, I want to say, of last year. So chances are there's still more stuff coming out. And actually, I want to bring this up real quick before we get out of here. But I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, man, I'd hate to go and buy the Imperial Knight Codex fresh off the shelf because so much stuff has changed. And I actually looked it up on the iOS on Apple iBooks, and it was updated. The enhanced version has been updated April 15th. So I feel like for me, I didn't have that, so I got to buy that. But I think I'm going to buy the Chaos Knight enhanced version myself and just start doing more of the enhanced versions because I want them to get updated and I want to make sure I have the most accurate information and make sure I don't have to rely on Cell Signal to get it and make sure I have it on my device. Just because there's been, we know that things are going to get fact in December and maybe after the ATCs, maybe we'll see some changes come out, but just keep that in mind too. Sometimes having the analog copy might not be advisable in 8th edition 40K.
Yeah, no doubt. Real quick, just slinging one back to the chat. Our man Wolfsark in there saying anything that makes the war dogs good for chaos, I guess over the Imperial versions. They're pretty much stocked the same with the same weapons, but they do benefit from their households. Therefore, the household traits. So they can get the ambitions, the trader ambitions. So they do benefit from the warp surge. So you can make one of the super flat 3 damage autocannons a flat 4 damage autocannon for a turn. Pretty nasty. But also they gain the Iconoclast straight up like, when they charge in close combat or get charged, they have an extra attack. And actually they add an AP to that attack. So even like your shooty guys suddenly have AP -1 attacks in close combat and additional attack. So that suddenly even the chain cleaver guys, like the with the chain sweep and everything, can run across, can be a pretty interesting close combat threat with just straight up Iconoclast. So they do have a couple of nuances that are different, that are very chaotic.
Very cool to see.
Nothing too crazy though. It's all about them knights. It's all about punching dudes in the face with chain cleavers and shooting them with 24 Gatling cannon shots. Also important to note, Gatling cannons did go up in points.
Oh, yeah. A lot of stuff went up like 20 points or so, right?
Like a dual Gatling Knight with the Storm Spear Missile Pod, the one that's strength 5, ignore line of sight. That dude is 501 points. That's it's a pricey night. So you're paying for these guys. So my list is looking sparse, guys. I'm looking over there. I have it laid out as I work on it. 3 Lord Discordants and a Supreme Command Red Corsairs, because I get that extra CP. And a battalion, Dirty Mike and the boys with a Sorcerer and a Warpsmith. And my Knights. That's it. So I do have 16 CPs.
That's incredible.
Red Corsairs. Don't leave your Knights stranded without their American Express card for accessing their special rule paywall. Bring your Red Corsairs.
Yeah, unlock all the stratagem points.
Yeah. That's all I got on Knights, though.
I think that's more than enough. We went a little long tonight, which I think is fair because we started a little late. I'll blame myself for that one.
I'll blame you too.
That's fair. Haspel, take us out of here.
Don't get eliminated.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.